Okay, you can start, inshallah.
Okay, Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Um, my name is Ibrahim, and I will be your reading a story to you guys today, inshallah. And I will be reading to you a story about Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam. Um, Yusuf was a young boy, both handsome and intelligent. He had 11 brothers. His father Yaqub alayhi salam loved him more than any of his other sons. One night, Yusuf alayhi salam had a wonderful dream. He saw 11 stars and the sun and the moon all bowing down to him. He was quite amazed by the dream. What did it mean? How could the stars, the sun, and the moon bow down to a man? Young Yusuf went to his father Yaqub alayhi salam and told him about his dream. He said, "Father, I saw 11 stars, the sun, and the moon in a dream. I saw them bowing down to me." Yaqub alayhi salam was a prophet and understood. He was very happy about this dream. He said, "Allah has blessed you, Yusuf. Something great will happen to you. This dream contains the good news that you will be given knowledge and prophecy. Allah bless your grandfather Ishaq, and He bless your ancestor Ibrahim. He will bless you, and He will bless the family of Yaqub." Yaqub alayhi salam was an old man who knew about human nature. He knew how shaitan can confuse and overcome people. He said, "My son, do not tell any of your brothers about your dream. They will envy you and become your enemies." The brothers envy. Yusuf alayhi salam had another brother. His name was Binyamin. Yaqub alayhi salam loved them both very much. He did not love anyone as much as he loved them. The brothers were very jealous of Yusuf and Binyamin and very, very bitter. They would say, "Why does our father love Yusuf and Binyamin more than us? Why doesn't he love them when they are young and weak? Why doesn't he love us as much when we are strong?" This is very strange indeed. Yusuf alayhi salam was young and innocent. Was young and innocent. He told his brothers about his dreams. The brothers got very angry indeed when they heard about it, and became even more jealous. One day the brothers got together and said, "If we kill Yusuf alayhi salam or drive him away to some distant land, then we will have our father's love all to ourselves, and he will love only us." One of them said, "No, throw him into a well beside the road. Then some travelers will take him." Finally, the brothers agreed to that plan. So the 10 brothers went to Yaqub alayhi salam. Yaqub was very afraid for Yusuf. He knew that the brothers were jealous of him and did not love him. So he would not allow Yusuf alayhi salam to go away with them. Yusuf used to play with his brother Binyamin, but he did not go far away. The brothers knew this, but they had decided to do something wicked. They said, "Father, why won't you allow Yusuf to come with us? What are you afraid of? He's our dear little brother. We are the sons of the same father. Brothers always play together. So why don't we send him with us tomorrow to frolic and play? We will watch over him." Yaqub alayhi salam was an old man, intelligent and wise, and patient. He did not want Yusuf to go far away from him because he was very much afraid for him. He told his sons, I fear that wolves may eat him while you are neglecting him." They said, "Never. How can a wolf eat him while we are there? How could he eat him when we are strong young men?" In the end, Yaqub alayhi salam gave Yusuf permission to go with his brothers. The brothers were very happy when Yaqub gave Yusuf permission to go with them. They took Yusuf into the wilderness and threw him into a well there. They showed no mercy to little Yusuf. They showed no mercy to their father Yaqub either. Yusuf was all alone in the deep, dark well. But Allah told him, "Do not be sad. Do not be afraid. Allah is with you. Something great will happen to you. Your brothers will come before you, and you will tell them what they did." After the brothers had thrown Yusuf into the well, they got together and said, "What shall we tell our father?" One of them said, One of them said, "Our father said, I fear that a wolf may eat him." You'll tell him, "You're right, father, a wolf did eat him." The brothers agreed. "Yes, we will tell him. Father, the wolf ate him." One of the brothers then asked, "But what proof will we have for that?" The other answered, "Blood will provide evidence." The brothers caught a ram and killed it. Then they took Yusuf's shirt and dipped it in the blood. They were very pleased with themselves. They said, "Now our father will believe us." They came weeping to their father in the evening. They said, "Father, we went running races and left Yusuf with our bags, and a wolf ate him." They brought his shirt with false blood on it. They said, "This is Yusuf's blood." Their father, Yusuf, Yaqub alayhi salam, was a prophet and an old man, much wiser than his sons. Yaqub alayhi salam knew that when a wolf eats someone, it rips its clothes, because the clothes were ripped. Their father Yaqub alayhi salam saw that Yusuf alayhi salam's shirt was whole. It had only been dipped in blood. So Yaqub alayhi salam knew that it was not Yusuf's blood and that the story about the wolf had been made up. He told his sons, "This is the story that you have made up. Patience is best." Yaqub was sad indeed about Yusuf, but he had plenty of patience. The brothers had returned home, leaving Yusuf in the well. They had eaten and now slept in their beds. Yusuf, though, all alone in the well, had neither slept nor eaten. The brothers forgot about Yusuf, but Yusuf did not forget about anyone. Yaqub alayhi salam kept thinking about Yusuf, and Yusuf kept thinking about Yaqub alayhi salam. It was a terrible time for Yusuf in that deep, dark well, out in the wilderness. A group of people one day were traveling to Egypt through that wilderness. They were thirsty and looking for water. They saw the well and sent a man to it to bring them some water. The man came to the well and let down a bucket. He pulled up the bucket, and there was a boy in it. Surprised, the man called out, "Good news! There's a boy!" The people hid Yusuf alayhi salam among their merchandise until they had traveled out of the area. When they got to Egypt, they stood in the market shouting, "Who will buy this boy? Who will buy this boy?" The Aziz of Egypt bought Yusuf for a few silver coins, very less. The merchants who sold him did not recognize the worth of Yusuf. The Aziz took him to his palace and told his wife, "Treat Yusuf well. He's an intelligent boy." The Aziz like a king, like a governor.
Ibrahim.
The wife of the Aziz was attracted to Yusuf.
He started laughing.
Yusuf alayhi salam was well known in Egypt for his good looks. When anyone saw him, they would say, "This is no mortal. He could only be a noble angel." The wife of the Aziz became very angry indeed when Yusuf alayhi salam kept refusing her, and she said to him, "Then you will go to prison." Yusuf alayhi salam said, "I prefer prison." A few days later, the Aziz decided it was better to send Yusuf alayhi salam to prison. He knew that Yusuf was innocent, but even so, Yusuf. One second, I'm going to turn off my notifications. They are very. A few days later, the Aziz decided it was better to send Yusuf to prison. He knew that Yusuf was innocent, but even so, Yusuf went to prison. The people in the prison knew that Yusuf was a noble young man with great knowledge and a merciful heart. They loved and respected him. Two other prisoners told Yusuf alayhi salam about their dreams. One of them said, "I dreamt about that I was pressing grapes." The other said, "I dreamt that I was carrying bread on my head and the birds were eating from it." They asked Yusuf alayhi salam to tell them the meaning of their dreams. Yusuf alayhi salam knew the meaning of their dreams since he was a prophet. In Yusuf's time, people worshiped things other than Allah. They said, "This is the Lord of the earth, this is the Lord of the sea, this is the Lord of the crops, this is the Lord of the rain." Yusuf would hear all that nonsense and weep for the ignorance of the people. He wanted to call people for the worship of Allah. Allah wanted that to happen also in the prison. Did not the people in prison deserve to be warned? Did not they deserve mercy too? Are not the people in prison slaves of Allah? Are not they too sons of Adam? Even in prison, Yusuf was free and brave in spirit. He was poor but generous and open-hearted. The prophets proclaim the truth everywhere because the truth is a blessing, and the prophets are generous with blessings in every time and place. Yusuf said to himself, need has driven these two men to me. The person who is in need is more open and humble. The person who is in need hears and obeys. If I teach these men something now, they will listen, and the people of the prison will also listen. So Yusuf did not rush to answer the questions. He said, I will tell you its interpretation before your food is brought to you. The two men sat down and were calm. Then Yusuf alayhi said to them, I know how to interpret dreams. That is part of what my Lord has taught me. The men were content to wait and listen patiently. Yusuf began his warning. Yusuf said, that is part of what my Lord has taught me. But Allah does not give his knowledge to everyone. Allah does not give his knowledge to an idol worshipper. Do you know why my Lord has taught me? Because I have left the path of idol worshipping and I have followed the religion of my fathers Ibrahim, Ishaq, and Yaqub alayhi salam. It is not proper for us to associate anything with Allah. Yusuf said that this tawheed does not belong only to us. It is for all people. That is part of Allah's bounty to us and to mankind. But most people are not thankful. Here Yusuf stopped them and asked them, you say, the Lord of the earth and the Lord of the sea and the Lord of the crops and the Lord of rain. We say Allah, the Lord of everything. Which is better? Many different gods are Allah, the one, the all-powerful. Where is the Lord of the earth, the Lord of the sea, the Lord of the crops, and Lord of the rain? Show me what they have created in the earth, or do they have any share in the heavens? Look at the earth and at the heaven. Look at man. This is the creation of Allah. Show me what these others have created. How can there be a Lord of the earth, a Lord of the sea, and Lord of anything else? These are only your names that you have named yourself, you and your fathers. Judgment belongs to Allah. The kingdom belongs to Allah. The earth belongs to Allah. The command belongs to Allah. Worship Him alone. That is the right religion, but most people do not know. When Yusuf alayhi finished warning them, he told them the meaning of their dreams. He said, as for one of you, he will pour wine for his Lord. As for the other, he will be crucified and the birds will eat from his head. Then he said to the first man, mention me in the presence of your Lord. The two men left. The first became a wine bearer to the king, and the other was crucified. The wine bearer forgot to mention Yusuf alayhi in the presence of the king. So Yusuf remained in prison for several years. One day the king of Egypt had a strange dream. He saw in that dream 7 fat cows eaten up by 7 thin cows. The king also saw 7 green ears of corn, then 7 withered ears. The king was puzzled by this strange dream and asked his companions what it meant. But they only said, it is nothing. When someone is asleep, he sees many things which are not real. But the wine bearer said, not so. I will tell you the meaning of this dream. The wine bearer then went to the prison and asked Yusuf alayhi the meaning of the king's dream. Yusuf was noble and generous, kind and understanding to Allah's creatures. He not only explained the meaning of the dream, he also explained what should be done about it. He said, you should plant your crops for 7 years and leave the grain you harvest in the ear, except for a little which you eat. After that will come a drought of 7 years, and help will come and people will have plenty. The wine bearer went to the king and told him the meaning of his dream. When the king heard all that, he was very relieved and happy. He asked, who told you the meaning of this dream? Who is this noble man who has given us this advice and shown us what to do? The wine bearer said, it is Yusuf alayhi the truthful. He is the one who told me that I would be a wine bearer to my master, the king. The king wanted to meet Yusuf and sent for him. Bring him to me, he said. I would attach him to myself. The messenger came to Yusuf and gave him the king's summons. But Yusuf was not ready to leave prison in that way. People say, this is Yusuf. He was in prison only the other day. He was unfaithful to the Aziz. Yusuf was proud and firm, intelligent and wise. Not many people in his place could have been so. If they had been, as Yusuf was, in prison for many years, then a messenger from the king had come to them and said, "The king has summoned you and is waiting for you," they would have rushed to leave the prison. But Yusuf told the king's messenger, "Before I leave prison, I want an inquiry into my case." The king ordered an investigation into Yusuf alayhi salam's case, and this proved that Yusuf alayhi salam was actually innocent. So Yusuf left prison an innocent man. The king received him with honor. Yusuf knew that a lot of people were not trustworthy, that they cheated a lot. In Egypt, there were many storehouses for grain, but there was no grain in them. They were empty because the people who ran them were not trustworthy. They did not fear Allah. Their dogs would eat while the common people had nothing. Their houses would be smartly decorated while the common people had nothing to wear. The common people would never benefit from Egypt's grain storehouses unless a guardian with knowledge was put in charge of them. A guardian without knowledge would not know how to run them wisely. Someone who had knowledge but was not an honest guardian would cheat the people and use the storehouses for his own benefit. Yusuf was an honest man, and he had knowledge. He did not want to see the authorities ignoring the people's rights anymore. He could not bear to see people starve. Yusuf was not ashamed of the truth. He told the king, "Set me over the treasuries of the land. I am a knowing guardian." This is how Yusuf was put in charge of the grain storehouses of Egypt. The common people were very relieved and praised Allah. Just as Yusuf had foretold, there was indeed a famine in Egypt and Palestine. The people of Palestine heard that there was a merciful man in Egypt, a generous and noble man, in charge of the storehouses of the land, someone to whom people could go and get food. So Yaqub sent his older sons to Egypt with money to buy food. Binyamin stayed with his father because Yaqub loved him very much. He did not want to be far from him. Yaqub was afraid for him as he had been afraid for Yusuf. Yusuf's brothers set out to meet the nobleman of Egypt, not knowing he was their own brother Yusuf. They thought that Yusuf alayhi salam was dead. How could he not be dead when they had thrown him into that deep, dark well way out in the wilderness? Yusuf's brothers came and went to him. He knew them, but they did not know him. Yusuf alayhi salam knew his brothers, but his brothers did not recognize him. Yusuf alayhi salam remembered how they had thrown him into the well, how they had wanted to kill him, but Allah had saved him. Yusuf did not want to say anything to them. He did not disgrace them. Yusuf alayhi salam spoke to the brothers for a time and then asked, "Where are you from?" "From Canaan," they replied. He asked, "Who is your father?" "Yaqub, son of Ishaq, son of Ibrahim alayhi salam." He asked, "Do you have another brother?" "Yes," they replied, "we have a brother whose name is Binyamin." He asked, why didn't he come with you?" "Because our father would not let him. He does not like him to be far from him." Yusuf asked, why won't he let him go? Is he a very young child? "No, but he had a brother named Yusuf. He went with us. He once went with us, and we went to run races and left Yusuf with our bags. A wolf ate him." Yusuf laughed to himself, but he did not say anything. He longed to see his brother Binyamin. Allah had prepared another test for Yaqub, the father of all the brothers. Yusuf ordered that they be given food, and he told them, "Bring me your brother from your father. If you do not bring him, you will not get any more food." Then Yusuf had their money secretly put back in their bags. The 10 brothers went back to their father and told him the news. They said to him, "Send our brother Binyamin with us. If you don't, we will not get any more food from the Aziz." They told Yaqub alayhi salam, "We will watch over him." Yaqub said, "Shall I entrust him to you other than the way I entrusted to you before? Like, should I give him to you like how I gave Yusuf alayhi salam to you before? Have you forgotten the story of Yusuf? Will you watch over Binyamin the way you watched over Yusuf? Allah is the best watcher. He is the most merciful of the merciful." The brothers then found their money in their bags and told their father, "The Aziz is a generous man. He has given us our money back. He did not charge us anything. Send Binyamin with us, and we will also get his share." Yaqub told him, "I will not send him with you until you make a pledge by Allah that you will bring him back unless you are overcome." They made a pledge by Allah. Yaqub said, "Allah is the guardian over what we say." Then Yaqub advised them, my sons, do not enter by the same gate. Enter by separate gates. When the brothers returned to Egypt to buy more food, they entered by separate gates, as their father had told them to. When Yusuf saw Binyamin, he was very happy and had him stay in his house. Yusuf said to Binyamin, I am your brother. Binyamin was very happy to meet his brother, who he believed had died many years before. Yusuf remembered his mother and father, his home, his childhood returned to him in awakened memories. Yusuf wanted Binyamin to stay with him so that he could see him and speak to him every day and ask him about his home. But how could he make that happen when Binyamin was going back to Canaan the next day? When the brothers had made a pledge by Allah that they would take him back with them. How could Yusuf keep Binyamin with him for no reason? People say that Aziz has detained a Canaanite for no reason. This is a great injustice. But Yusuf was very intelligent and clever. He had a precious drinking cup placed secretly inside Binyamin's bags. Then when the brothers left the next day, some of Yusuf's people went after them. Yusuf himself followed a little later. When they caught up with the brothers, they proclaimed, you are thieves. The brothers were surprised and asked, what are you missing? They said, we are missing the king's chalice. Whoever brings it will have a camel's load in return. The brothers said, by Allah, you know that we have not come to make trouble in the land. We are not thieves. They said, what will its repayment be if you are liars? Its repayment will be the person in whose saddlebag it is found. This is how we repay wrongdoers. The cup was found in Binyamin's saddlebag. The brothers were ashamed, but they were without shame when they said, if Binyamin stole, a brother of his stole before. Yusuf, who had now reached the others, heard this lie, but he was silent and did not get angry. He was noble and patient. The brothers appealed to him. They said, O Aziz, he has an aged father who is very old. Take one of us in his place. We see that you are one of those who do good. He said, Allah forbid that we should take anyone except the one in whose possession we found our goods. If we did so, we would be wrongdoers. So Binyamin stayed behind with Yusuf. The two brothers were happy. Yusuf had been alone for a very long time without seeing any of his family. Allah had sent Binyamin to him. So why should he not keep his brother with him so that he could see him and talk to him? The brothers were confused. How could they go back to the father without Binyamin? The brothers thought about what they could tell their father. They thought about what they could tell. They had made him suffer over Yusuf alayhis salam. How could they now make him suffer over Binyamin? The oldest of them refused to go back to Yaqub. He told his brothers, go back to your father and say, Father, your son stole. We only testify to what we know. We are not guardians of the unseen. When Yaqub heard their story, he knew that Allah had a hand in it, and he understood that Allah was testing him. He had been made to suffer over Yusuf before. Now he was made to suffer over Binyamin. Allah had a hidden hand and a hidden wisdom in it. In such ways, he tests his slaves and then he makes them happy and blesses them. Also, the oldest son had stayed behind in Egypt, refusing to return to Canaan. Would Yaqub be made to suffer over a third son when he had already been made to suffer over two sons? It could not be so. Finally, when Yaqub was calm again, he said, perhaps Allah will bring them all to me. Allah is the all-knowing, the all-wise. Yet Yaqub was, after all, a human being, with a soft human heart in his breast. He did not have a piece of stone there. So when he remembered Yusuf, his sorrow came flooding back again. He said, oh, my sorrow for Yusuf. His sons were annoyed and said, you will keep on mentioning Yusuf until you die. Yaqub said, I complained of my grief and sorrow to Allah. I know from Allah what you do not know. Yaqub knew that despair is disbelief. He had great hope in Allah. He sent his sons back to Egypt to look for Binyamin and Yusuf, and to try hard to bring them home. Yaqub alayhis salam forbade them to lose hope in Allah's mercy. The brothers arrived in Egypt for the third time. They went to Yusuf and complained to him about their poverty and affliction. They asked him to be charitable to them. Sorrow and love rose up in Yusuf. He could no longer bear to listen to the sons of his own father, the sons of prophets, complaining about their poverty and affliction to one of the kings. He thought, how long can I conceal the truth from them when they are in need? How long can I go without seeing my father? And he said to them, do you know what you did to Yusuf and his brother when you were ignorant? The brother knew that this was a secret only known to themselves and to Yusuf. So they knew that this Aziz was Yusuf alayhi salam. Glory be to Allah. How could Yusuf be alive? He had not died in the well? Could Yusuf be the Aziz of Egypt, the famous man in charge of the storehouses of the land, the one who provided food for them? They had no doubt that the one who had spoken to them was Yusuf, son of Yaqub alayhi salam. They said, you are Yusuf. He answered, I am Yusuf, and this Binyamin is my brother. Allah has been good to us. Whoever fears Allah, whoever fears Allah and is patient, Allah will not let the wage of those who who do good go to waste. They said, by Allah, Allah has certainly preferred you above us, and we have been in error. Yusuf did not blame them for what they have done. He said, may Allah forgive you. He is the most merciful of the merciful. Yusuf longed to meet Yaqub alayhi salam. How could he not? How could he not long to see him when they had been apart for such a long time? Why should he be patient now when the secret had been disclosed? How could he enjoy food and drink when his own father was not enjoying food or drink or even sleep? The secret was revealed. All was made known. Allah wanted to delight Yaqub. When Yusuf alayhi salam heard that Yaqub alayhi salam had gone blind because of his great weeping and sorrow, he said, take this shirt of mine and throw it over my father's face. He will recover his sight. Then bring me all of your family. As the messenger ahead of the others was carrying Yusuf's shirt back to Canaan, Yaqub sensed Yusuf's scent on the air. He said, I smell the scent of Yusuf. Those around him said, by Allah, you are in your old error. But Yaqub had spoken the truth. When the bearer of good news came, he placed his shirt over Yaqub's face and he saw once again. He said, didn't I tell you that I know from Allah what you do not know? Now the brothers understood. They said, Oh Allah, our Father, ask forgiveness for us for our wrong actions. We have been in error. He said, I will ask my Lord to forgive you. He is all forgiving, all merciful. Then Yaqub alayhi salam journeyed to Egypt and Yusuf received him. Their joy and happiness were great. It was a memorable and blessed day in Egypt. Yusuf placed his parents on the throne. They all fell down prostrate before Yusuf, who said, this is the interpretation of my dream of long ago. My Lord has made it true. I saw 11 stars, the sun and the moon, and I saw them bowing down to me. Yusuf praised Allah greatly. He was very thankful for what happened. Yaqub and his family stayed in Egypt for a long time. Yaqub and his wife died in Egypt. Although he was a ruler with great power and authority, this did not distract Yusuf from Allah. It did not change him. He remembered Allah, worshipped him. And feared him. He gave judgment according to the judgment of Allah. He carried out Allah's commands. Yusuf did not want to die the death of a king. He did not want to be gathered with the kings. He wanted to die the death of a slave of Allah, and to be gathered with the righteous. This was Yusuf's prayer. My Lord, you have given me a kingdom and taught me the interpretation of dreams. Creator of the heavens and the earth, you are my guardian and in this world and the next world. Make me die a Muslim and join me with the righteous. Allah made him die a Muslim and join him with his fathers, Ibrahim, Ishaq, and Yaqub alayhi salam. May Allah bless them and the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam and grant them peace. The end. Any questions? No? How did everyone like the story? Awesome. All right. Sound